Welcome to CreatorCast. We are creators taking a pause from our own channels to come together and talk about YouTube and vlogging and collaborate with other creators. If you're new here and like this idea, click that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. And if you're a creator, come over to our Facebook page where we do a lot more of conversationing and talking and asking questions and posting videos. That's facebook.com/group/CreatorCast. My name is Danny Black from the channel Where is Danny Black? And alongside of me hosting the show, we have Scott Muir from the channel YouTube. He's in Melbourne.
I am. It's freezing.
He's in Melbourne.
It's absolutely freezing.
It's freezing in Melbourne. Yeah, it's actually freezing. It's winter time here in the southern hemisphere. And then I think in the northern hemisphere, this is a change. Benon is in China?
Yeah, but that's not northern hemisphere. Still south of the equator. But
okay,
it's very, very hot. It's 29 degrees right now in Shenzhen, where I am at. And it's just like 98% humidity, so there's just water in the air. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wow! And I think that maybe we'll talk about what you're doing up there in a midweek chat sometime.
Yeah, cool.
But that's exciting. But we definitely want to get to today's guest, and it's kind of funny how I ran into him because it was like one of those romantic movies where it's I'll bring him on and then we'll talk about that. So, Jake, can you reveal yourself?
What percent was it?
4%. What's up?
Hey,
Jake.
It's Jake Rich.
How you doing?
He's down in Sydney, New South Wales, and that's where he is now. But he's been all over the place, and he does a lot of crazy traveling and stuff. By the way, your last video, the Vanuatu one, is awesome. And Benon's going there soon. Benon, you should check that out.
I'm going there in like 2.5 weeks. I want to talk to you, Jake, about that.
All right, we'll chat. Well, I'll send you some links.
That'd be sweet, man.
You go.
That'd be sweet.
As we're recording this, he's approaching 30,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And that blows me away. That's so cool. Jake, do you remember how me and you met for the first time?
Sure do. We were on a cruise. It was actually only a couple of weeks ago. Like we were literally I was getting some gimbal shots just around the cruise, and you had your gimbal, and there was a specific door which I wanted to get sliding open, and you kind of came around the side as I was coming around with my gimbal, and it was like they were about to crash into each other.
Are you gonna show me
in the middle of the ship, coming together with our gimbals and A6500, right? Isn't that what you have?
Yeah, correct.
And you're the newer. I never know what it's called. I always said Zion, but it's Jean Crane, or you have the newer one. But it was just so funny. We were just like, oh, and I think I said that's awkward. And then I was just like, hey, I didn't know who you were, but what's funny is I already followed you. I subscribed to you already.
Crazy.
And I didn't even recognize you from that. So I was just like, oh, there's some guy. He's doing something. And that was awesome. I was love at first sight. And then he posted a video of that cruise, and it was really good. And Pino shared it, and I like that video as under 30s, how to have fun on cruise ships and stuff. And that's the kind of video you want to do. So, I'm actually going to give it a share as well, because I think that's good. My audience likes that kind of stuff. So, that's great. And by the way, Jake, that's Benon and Scott Muir from YouTube, and I'm from Gives a Minute.
Nice to meet you, Jake.
Lovely to meet you guys.
Likewise.
Nice representing Sydney as well. While I'm not there, it's good that we've got someone in Sydney holding the fort down.
Yeah, it's like you guys just changed.
Only for a little while.
Where are you off to next?
I'm heading to Canada tomorrow for the GoPro Creator Summit.
Wow.
Right.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Which part of Canada is that in?
It's in Alberta.
Ah, very nice.
It's going to be in the Rockies somewhere. I don't know exactly. I haven't really completely checked the itinerary, but I'm leaving tomorrow first thing, and I'll get there. I leave at 10 a.m. in Sydney time on the 17th, and I arrive at 6:30 on the 17th into Canada. So I'm virtually not alive for a day.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it'll be a week over there.
Just 1 week? That's it?
Just a week. It's kind of 4 days. I don't really know too much about what's happening, but there's a stack of different creators from around the world, different GoPro advocates, people that submit content to the GoPro awards system, and kind of just have been invited to come through their own platform. Yeah.
Right. So GoPro's invited you over
awesome.
there. That's sweet, man. Well done.
Yeah. I submitted a video, and they had like an electronic mail out saying who wants to, we've got this summit coming up, submit your content, and I submitted a bunch of stuff and got accepted. So yeah.
Nice work.
Awesome. I found one of your GoPro videos. It was how to take better photos on your GoPro. And believe it or not, then Danny said we're going to be talking to you. I was like, hey, this is the second time this has happened where I've already been a subscriber to the person we're interviewing. We're like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, GoPro for the win.
Dominant, yes. That video is starting to
Jake,
cruise. Like, that's getting suggested. It's just sort of must have just jumped into the algorithm and it's just been like gaining
dude, those P&O videos, when even Ben on, I got him on as my brother-in-law because I work on the ships. I'm a musician, and so I vlog my time on the ships. And so any of those videos from ships, it's just you post it and then it just goes and goes and goes. And so yeah, people out here love searching for that, especially like the Pacific Explorer. That's a highly searched one.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that route has definitely been a turning point in my career as a creator. Is sort of starting to focus a little bit more on, just looking at YouTube as a search engine as opposed to like documenting my life. Because at the end of the day, I don't really think anyone gives a shit about what I do. But if I can help them with something, then they care. So
yeah.
How long have you been on YouTube, Jake? What's your history with your channel?
I've been on YouTube for like probably 6 years. But I started making like parodies and sort of sketch comedy stuff because I was working in radio at the time. So I was like, oh yeah, this is like how you do YouTube. Like you just make funny stuff and people subscribe. And I think maybe after about a year of kind of doing that, not consistently, extremely inconsistently, I started kind of producing content for the City Beach YouTube channel, which was like, they had this awesome audience on Facebook. I think they'd hit like 150,000 likes, and I was like, wow, why don't you guys start to give some cool content to those people that like you on Facebook? And then we also published that stuff on YouTube, and when I started doing that, I guess I was producing it as a way that like I would organize talent interviews and sit down with like the Dudesons or whatever sort of band was cruising through Brisbane at the time, and just kind of create content that would be for that audience, which was sort of like surf, pop rock, and that kind of kick-started things, and I was like, okay, I much prefer doing this than making kind of silly parodies and stuff. I might explore the whole platform a little bit more, and then I found some vloggers, and it kind of got me interested in sort of more filmmaking stuff, and then over the years, it's kind of evolved into like what it is today.
Very nice.
Man, that's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah. So you do travel videos, like tech videos, short films. You do some poetry kind of reading that you wrote on some of the short films, which is really nice. Like I love that stuff. Like it's super creative. I'll probably put a clip in right here so people know what I'm talking about.
This archipelago, yeah, give it a hell of a go, because what I experienced you may never know. What things are you gonna do in 2018 that you'll remember forever?
What would you call the short films, or just a film about something? Or
like I guess I'm kind of calling them culture films at the moment, because it's sort of the bracket they fit into. And I mean, whilst over those 5 years, like I guess I've dabbled with music, and I guess hip hop's always been the flavor of music or the genre that I've most enjoyed. So that's probably where the poetry side of things comes from. But if I'm writing, that's kind of how I like it.
One thing I love about one of your videos just cracks me up is the GoPro Hero 5 cap, that you addressed that problem, because I had that same problem.
The cap.
And I think I might have even watched your video to figure out what in the world I was doing, like way back when, because you pull the cap off and then you can't figure out how to get that thing back on. And then you just realize it's just the simplest slide. And it was so funny when I watched that again, and I was just like, I can't remember when it was, but I was so frustrated with it. I was like, how can they make this thing like such crap quality? And then you're like, oh, yeah, it's pretty smart. Like,
I think I spent like a half hour trying to work that out. Like, I was sitting there going, how does this thing come off? Like, how do I put this back on? Yeah, and I was out and about, and I ended up giving the GoPro to a friend of mine and he was like, "Oh," slid out the cap and popped it off, and I was like, "Oh my god." Made it a lot easier.
Do you what do you think of the Hero 5 session? Because I'm thinking about getting it, even though it's discontinued. Benon got one. He was like, everybody should get one before they go away.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the session camera in itself, I don't think it was ever designed as like a primary like GoPro camera. It was always like a secondary camera. So say you wanted to like mount something like, oh, I'm going to put another mount on, I don't know, the wing of my aircraft or the bottom of my board, but not the main camera that I'm shooting on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bingo. That's why I bought it. Bottom of a surfboard. I was like, I want to do under surfboard footage, and I don't want to have the big ass, Hero, the width of the Hero 5 or Hero 6. So there's a square one. But then I found out that they discontinued them. So I was like, well, I've got to grab one before they actually go off the shelves, because once they're off the shelves, they're gone. They're not going to be restocked. So I bought one in anticipation for next summer, even though it's winter in Australia right now. I'm not going to use it till, like November or something, but it's just sitting there.
Yeah, but that's exactly that. I think that's the prime example of like what you would use it for. But in terms of if you were just getting into shooting on a GoPro, I would look at a 6 or look at one of the other cameras which has the back panel on it. So you can,
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you, Jake. What do you recommend? I came to almost like a conundrum. I wasn't sure whether I should just use the tether, because I'm going to mount this under my surfboard, and I thought, do I have to put that in a floaty just as double protection in case it pops off, and then at least it floats, or will the tether string be enough? Because if I put it in a backdoor floaty, then it becomes the same width as a Hero 5 or a Hero 6. So I might as well just got a Hero 5 or a Hero 6. I don't want to have that drag,
You're basically answering your own question, Ben.
Yeah, but I'm just asking. I'm asking Jake because he's, got more of a knowledge of GoPros, and I'm asking his opinion.
Yeah, right. So the question is, should I use a backdoor floaty on the session?
So he's going underneath the surfboard, and he's trying to figure out a way to kind of reinforce it. So if it pops off, if you have the floaty on there, then it'll float. But I was thinking if you put a tether on it, then no matter what, at least it'll still be attached to the board. Like a floaty is good, but when you're in the ocean, it'll float up, and you're gonna have to find it somewhere. It's gonna be harder than you think.
I've never mounted like a camera to the bottom of a board. I've always like mounted it on top. At the front, just at the nose of the surfboard. So, I don't know how it affects like your riding of the surfboard. I think, the prime function should be to catch that wave. And like, if that has any impact or hindrance on you not riding the wave, then I wouldn't do it. I would just mount it quite simply, and then, mate, I have enough trouble getting up on the waves. So,
dude, I did a project where I was catching a wave every day in November, and after I had an injury, so I had to stop, but I only actually got one good wave in the whole time. So
yeah, there you go.
I'm no expert, but I enjoyed it.
I think surfing comes first, and then, camera technology.
Yeah. So, well, for me, the documentation of it came before the surf, because I just wanted to document everything.
Well, let's talk a little bit more GoPro. How much GoPro knowledge do you have since you're going to this thing? Do you know any future products that are coming out that we should be maybe saving our money for? Thoughts about the Karma and
I feel like GoPro is always working on something. I feel like it's just that kind of company. A lot like Apple and Samsung, like they've always got something up their sleeve. I'm sure they have an arm of their business which is dedicated to, innovation and new technology. In terms of like, what I think is going to be really interesting is like where they're taking Fusion. I think like the Fusion camera is
I love the Fusion.
Incredible.
It's my favorite.
I've barely scraped the surface of like creating with it. I've just been playing around with one over the last couple of months. But I feel like that technology, from like just the process of like getting 360 footage from a camera into an editing suite. At the moment, there's a few steps which I feel like they might create. It might be a little more streamlined. But you never know what they're going to bring out. Like they could bring out a new camera, and if they were to bring out a new camera, say just in the hero range, well then like, you know, just thinking about just going in with that cheap, I don't know, Hero 4 Silver because it's being discontinued or something, you know, then bumps it down the line a little more. So I kind of, I'm always under the impression that if you can afford it, to just get that like Hero 6 or the top of the line camera, because they're always going to be making new cameras. So you'll come in at this point, you'll have it for a couple of years, and yeah, you can always upgrade. In terms of the Karma, I feel like that was a pretty, like, I don't like it. I've flown on it and I just don't like it. I don't think it was that beneficial. I think they really, I think they suffered a lot from that release because the camera wasn't ready.
They should have came out way earlier.
Yeah, the technology wasn't ready. Like they obviously had their release dates for their Hero 5, and they were like, all right, we've also got to, you know, up the game and bring out Karma. I just don't think they were quite ready. They then had to recall all the initial Karmas that were sold, and I think that was detrimental to them, like, you know, coming into the drone game and trying to compete with DJI, because in that time DJI dropped the Mavic and it was almost like game over.
Right.
And I feel like people, you know, DJI just do drones, and that's their specialty. So I feel like GoPro are like, maybe we'll just stick to action cameras. I think that's what they do best. So yeah, they're my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, when you go up to when you go to the summit or the creator thing out there, I'm going to give you a video because I want you to show them a Fusion video that I have that I think that they're marketing to the wrong people. When what it is, I just have when I got married, I put it like on a tripod, just like right in front of us. And everyone was standing around. It was like a kind of like a flash mob wedding in Vegas in front of the Bellagio fountain. And when you watch it back, and you can just look around and see everybody, what they're doing, and like the memories of that are way like, just if it was a $800 US device, and if you paid a videographer, it'd be a lot more. And it's like I feel like I caught it so much better than with somebody else. So to me, it's like they're selling it to action people, which is great, but like regular consumers can benefit from it so much and they're not really pushing it at that.
I feel like with all of that, that's where creators come in. You know, these guys make the product, and then the creators really teach and educate how the products are used, and how they can be used. So that, it's just about getting your video out there, you know?
That's true. That is true. I've been using it for a while now. I love it. It's one of my favorite cameras. My other GoPro Hero 5 died on me, and I don't even really need it because I have basically two cameras put together. That's what it is. So it just takes up a lot more hard drive space. That's basically it.
Hey, Danny, is there a way on the Fusion to record not 360? So can you use it as a single camera, or is it always 360?
You can just, it'll record on both sides, but you can just only remove the front side of it, you know what I mean? And then put that in, like, because what you do is you get two micro SD cards, one's for the front, one's for the back. And if you just take out the front and just put it in there, it's going to be a lot more like bigger field of view, but you can also zoom in because it's recording in like 5.2K.
So it's shooting
on work for GoPro?
It's shooting in two separate SD cards and at 5.2K, so you can that's pretty rad. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anyways, we'll get off the GoPro stuff now, but Jake, what are some of your inspirations on YouTube? Like who are some of your inspirations?
I guess when I first sort of found more of a voice and a style as a creator, I was watching Fun for Louie, Mr. Ben Brown, like just daily vlogs. I was kind of just watching those guys document their adventures around the UK and globally. And then obviously Casey Neistat had a huge impact on the way that I think as well, more than just like, I guess coming from, I don't have a background in film. My background is in sound and design, and I've sort of just moved into film because I've been passionate about making film and making movies. So I guess before, like, and when those early group of creators were hanging out, collaborating, like Dan, the director, was a big part of what they were doing. And now since he's been working a lot more with Casey, he's probably been put onto the map more globally. But early on, when he was just working with those guys, I was watching a lot of his films. So yeah, I guess vloggers have been a big impact on on like how I've kind of thought about creating content for the platform. And then artists, like hip hop. I've been listening to a lot of J. Cole lately. I've been listening to other, like, big fan of Macklemore's work. And then I guess in fine art, probably people like Keith Haring, like fine artist, which was in like the Basquiat kind of era. So Basquiat, Keith Haring, Andy Warhol, those kind of like fine artists have always had like a big impact on the way that I see things visually. So yeah, that's why I do a lot of scribble on like my videos. Yeah,
it's really cool. I love that stuff. What's your relationship status?
I got a girlfriend,
Whoa.
So I'm in a relationship.
Wow. Danny, that's an unusual question in that line of questioning, just to go straight to that. I was like, what?
Well, because I've seen it on some of his videos. He's got some females.
Okay. Sorry, Jake, to cut you off there. I just I find that humorous.
I love the segue.
Ask, like, what's your family like? How the family likes it?
Yeah, fair enough. They all fit together nicely.
Yes. You took. Is it the same girl that you took on a date in Sydney? Like the best date or something in Sydney?
That's the same girl. Yeah, we met.
Wait, Jake, did you vlog a date?
I mean, I've vlogged dates, yeah, like, but it wasn't. It was like well and truly like down the line of our relationship.
Right.
I didn't really film or like document too much when like the early days of it all. Surprisingly though, after like the first date, I was like, I wanted to sit down and like just film a video about how I was thinking and feeling, because I was like, oh, this is something interesting. I'm really excited about this. Like, I didn't end up doing that, but now we're here. So
to tie that all back to GoPro, I did actually vlog on a date, a first date with a girl, and I asked her up front, do you want to be in the vlog or not? And she said, can you not put me in? So I had to sort of talk about the date and construct the vlog around not showing her. And the irony of it is that I used a GoPro to do a time lapse. And while we were having the date, I put the time lapse on the side there, and we sat down and had a drink. And a jogger was running past and stole the GoPro from pretty much under our feet. So I had a terrible date, and she said, I don't want to see you again, and I lost a GoPro out of it.
Damn. That's why you don't vlog on dates.
That is a bad date.
Yeah.
That is not how you do it. But what does your girlfriend think about you doing YouTube and vlogging and stuff?
Yeah, she's cool with it. Like, I think she knew what she was signing up for. Like, she like Googled all the stuff that I was doing, and like, she's studying to be an actor, so I feel like she has some interest in the digital space.
That's great.
But it's a different road. It's a very different road. Like, I don't think she aspires to, just create content for the internet. I think she can see herself on a silver screen, and like, that's more of a, like, it's just a different, it's a different path. So yeah, I mean, it's a similar world, like the media sort of world, but it's just a different road. But I guess she enjoys making sketches and stuff. So there's some times that I can help her out, or we can come together and work on a project together. So it works.
What's one of your biggest struggles?
Struggles?
Yeah, creating.
And
then Scott, is that you that asked a question?
What's that?
Did you have a question, Scott?
No, keep going. Yeah, I'll ask next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Struggles. It's a tough question. Maybe that one of the, maybe it's not a struggle, but sometimes I guess I struggle with balance. I can be like, I can just go 100% all in on creating stuff, and then I seem to lose touch with friends or even family. Like I haven't spoken to them because I've been off in this crazy world, and I don't know whether that's like a struggle, but it's just reminding myself to like pull back a little bit and slow down, and to accept when things are slow as much as accepting when things are really quick and moving really fast. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've watched a few of your videos where you filmed them on iPhones and you've caught footage by iPhone. I just want to say I love that sort of stuff because that's how I sort of started myself, was just filming on an iPhone. I just love that gear isn't always that important. Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely.
I love all that stuff.
That's definitely how I started. I think once I kind of saw the internet as an opportunity to create content, and before that I would just call up, like I'd go to the film school and I would contact the film students and be like, hey, I've got this thing I need shot, can I get a videographer? And I would just work with a videographer. I didn't have anything to do with the camera. And then when they kept kind of like pushing back and be like, oh, I've got too many projects to edit, I was like, all right, I'll do this myself. I've got this little iPhone. So, and then I sort of started teaching myself how to edit, and was like just using what I had at the time. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's like one thing that maybe some creators put up roadblocks, and they're like, oh, my microphone or my camera doesn't sound that great, or just those little things, which I think are such minor little problems that you face. I think that the overarching goal should be to, use what you've got and create something. And then as you develop and progress and grow, you can then get better stuff.
Yeah. So you had no background in filmmaking before YouTube?
Zero. I studied audio. So I studied sound production. I used to make music on Ableton. And I guess I just liked audio workstations. So, I used to just take samples and make hip hop music. And then when I started, when I kind of was like organizing these interviews and stuff, and I was just looking into iMovie, and then I just used the internet to teach myself how to make films.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing what you can find on YouTube in the way of how to do things. Like I'm sitting here editing days, and I'm like, how do I blur things? So then I've just end up finding like a tutorial on how to blur something. Or it's exactly how I came across your channel. Was I just bought the GoPro Hero 5, and I was like, how the hell do I use this thing?
Yeah.
Bang, typed it in. Here we are talking.
That's it, yeah. And I'm so thankful for the people that have spent the time putting out those tutorials on After Effects and Premiere Pro, because like they've literally taught me what I know. So
yeah. That's Ben. Do you have any more questions for Jake?
I was going to ask Jake. I know you mentioned Brisbane, and then you're in Sydney right now, and then you're off to Canada. What in Sydney? What other YouTubers or what other networks of YouTubers are you aware of, if any?
So I got a couple of buddies who make YouTube content. Mostly, I mean, when I first was making YouTube videos and I was like collaborating when I moved to Sydney, I was collaborating with whoever I could. I actually early on was working with a multi-channel called Collective Digital Studios, and they had other talent, but they were like, oh, you guys should, we've got like some beauty vloggers which you can link up with. So early on, I was like kind of working with whoever, and then over the years, as I sort of built out my own sort of mission statement, understood the content that I really enjoy making, and I guess more of the direction of where I wanted to take things, I started to attract those kind of people into my world. One of those was on a shoot up in Cairns, and it is a time-lapse photographer whose name's Matt Joes. So Matthew Vanderpute, he lives around the corner from me, and we collaborate all the time. Whether it's just like sharing ideas, he creates a lot of tutorial-based content on like how to time-lapse, how to create hyperlapses, and then just vlogs. A very useful information point of contact. And if you go to his channel, there's just like an abundance of like help content there, as well as like fun, engaging vlogs and tutorials and stuff. So yeah, we make stuff all the time together, whether we're like vlogging or whether like we're specifically working on a project. But yeah, he's just like very interested and curious about the YouTube space as much as I am. So through our kind of connections, we then went to Vidcon last year together, and met up with some other creators over there. One of them ended up being was Julian.
Wait, are you talking VidCon Australia or VidCon US?
The US one.
Okay.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah, I met a bunch of different people. One of them is a van life YouTuber. His name is Jax Austin, and he created a channel which is he converted an American school bus and has been living in it for the last 2 years.
Cool.
And now he's doing like a bigger bus, so he's just sold that one. And like if you watch his content, he's just like constantly educating you on how to either, live in a van or a bus, like just an alternative way of living, or specifically how to modify a vehicle to live in. But that he's in the US. But back to Australian creators or Sydney based. So Matt's one of them. I guess there's a whole tight network of Instagrammers that make YouTube videos, but I guess their platform is Instagram, and those guys are like Demis Russley. They have an account called Global Night Squad. Pat Kay, Rob Mullally. That they're all photographers, I guess, that also make video and film. But I guess they probably don't call themselves YouTubers. So there's actually quite a strong network of Sydney-based creatives that have just sort of appeared. Sam Evans, who makes more films, and he also does a lot of GoPro stuff. When he's in Sydney, I'll collaborate with him. And sometimes Alex Hayes, who's also like a younger, he's a surfer that makes vlogs. So those guys are all about.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's a great amount of information there.
Yeah. I think that, it's cool. Talking about collaborations, I know that the P&O social media lady was saying that she wanted us, you and I, to get on a ship together sometime before the end of the year and do a collaboration vlog or something. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. It's kind of nice that we got to meet now so that we're not just like trying to figure it all out later. But speaking of VidCon, do you have any plans to go to Australian VidCon this year?
I do, yeah. My manager, she is launching. This is probably like not to get out to everyone, but she's launching a big project, so I won't tell you all the details of it. At VidCon, it's more so like her working with, or like her agency working with another big company, and they're just kind of putting their partnership out there at VidCon. So she asked me to come along and chat to people about that. So
when you said manager there, do you have an MCN that manages you, and she's your contact there? Or?
Yeah, so no. So I got out of the MCN stuff as soon as I could, as soon as I sort of realized what was going on, which was probably 3 years ago now.
Same.
Yeah, or 2.5 years ago. And I was doing a project with MTV, something that I just, whilst I was working in Brisbane, had made a contact at a record label, and that ended up leading me down this rabbit warren of meeting the guys at MTV. Anyway, long story short, I was doing a project with them with another Melbourne-based vlogger whose name's Jacko, and she was chatting to him on the phone whilst we were away filming this project and on loudspeaker, and she was like, "Oh, who are you doing the project with?" And he was doing it with me, and she's like, "Oh, let's chat when you get back." And that's how that started. So yeah.
Okay.
So sorry, I'm still not clear. She manages your YouTube channel, or she manages
brand partnerships and
okay.
So yeah, so I have a creative partnership with Red Bull and Kentucky. So I'm on like different contracts with both those companies. So for travel, I think I've got like 5 trips coming up with Kentucky over the next 12 months. And Red Bull, I'm like halfway. I started with them at the start of this year, but I've got my contract will end up. I think there might be 6 more months left on my Red Bull contract. And one of the projects that I'm doing with them is Flugtag. So it's like Day of Flight, which is in Sydney in November. So I'm working with an engineer to build an aircraft which will enter into Day of Flight, which will be sent off a 12-meter platform into the Sydney Harbour.
Wow.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff's really fun, and so she looks after those partnerships.
That's
that
cool.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So just so you know, when you go to VidCon Australia, we're going to be there. We were there last year, and that's how we all met and created this group, because VidCon last year, it sucked for us. We were like, this is nothing for us. And so we were like, let's create this group on Facebook and these like little interview things on YouTube, and just that's what this is. So I mean, we'd be happy to have you part of the group as well.
Definitely.
On Facebook and stuff. And I think we're setting up in a pub or something next to the convention.
Yeah.
And we're going to actually do live stream interviews like throughout the day with some drinks and stuff like that. So we'd love to have you come down and do a live stream with us. That'd be so fun.
100%. I haven't like confirmed all of the dates and stuff for Melbourne yet, but yeah, because I might be doing a Kentucky trip. But if I'm not, I would definitely love to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
And also,
Well,
I'm sure like some other buddies that I know will be there, so we can all link up and meet some more people.
Right.
That'd be great. Last thing we like to also like if you give like a little channel shout out for maybe like a smaller YouTuber or some other YouTubers that you know that would probably want to do this, like people that we should check out and subscribe to, and then we'll see if we can get them on one of these things. Any of those like YouTuber shout outs?
Yeah, definitely. So a buddy of mine who I met in Adelaide randomly on New Year's Eve 2 years ago now, who's been like grinding out YouTube videos solidly, so dedicated to the platform. His name's Cameron Mark Doyle, and he's like Cameron Doyle on YouTube, and he started to make a lot more, I guess, film-based content, but he was daily vlogging for a while, heavily inspired by Casey Neistat, and his content is incredible. I think he just hit his first 1,000 subscribers just earlier this year. He was on the cruise with me, so you
oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember
might have seen him, but
yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, so Cam
in the video
definitely
too.
shout out him.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Any other ones?
Adelaide based. So he's Adelaide based. Australian. Another one of one of my favorite creators to watch. She's an illustrator, and I guess she's kind of like grown her channel off her work as an illustrator. But her name's Furry Little Peach, or Shan. I was fortunate enough to go to a event with her last year with Adobe. So her channel's Furry Little Peach, and I guess if you're inspired by like fine artists, she does a lot of work in that space. So she's just released a children's book. She's the illustrator of it, and she takes you through her studio vlogs, how she works with clients, her creative process. Yeah, so she's Sydney based. So yeah, shout her out.
That's great.
And then you guys.
Yeah, and all of us, sweet.
Nice.
Well, we're fans of you. You're fans of us. That's how this works. I think, trying to grow a really good community, really strong one out here, and be like, the 368, but out here in Australia.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for being on the show, man. Any other questions, last questions, or anything at all, guys?
I'm clear, Jake. I really enjoyed having you on. It was really nice to hear from another creator based in Sydney, and just hearing your stories and how you've progressed. And yeah, congrats to all your accolades and how everything's going, man. Well done.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you guys face to face. Like,
that'd be awesome. Yeah, VidCon, that'd be so cool.
Sydney. I guess, I mean, you touched on the right, I guess, word, which is community. And I feel like Australia, because it's smaller, it's harder to kind of find people that are like-minded and in your niche of creation, because it's, you don't want, as much as it's cool to create with maybe a beauty vlogger, like, it doesn't really you don't want to hang out. So.
I agree.
Are you one more quick question, Jake? Are you actually based in Sydney? You're coming back to Sydney after the Canada trip?
Canada, yeah.
Yeah, just because Brisbane put me off there, I thought you might have been up.
No, I used to live in Brisbane. So I was there for.
What suburb are you in?
Right now, I'm in Rose Bay, and I normally say Bondi because I've been in Bondi for the last 4 years, and I've just come over to this side, so I'm in Rose Bay.
Okay.
Rose Bay, okay.
Bondi is very close.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. If you this is the professional part of the show. If you can, we'll say bye and then cover up your screening, and we'll talk about you for a little bit, and then we'll end the show. So, Jake, thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time, and you'll definitely be more on the show. I think that's gonna be great. So, thanks again for the interview.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See
Thanks,
ya.
Jake. Nice to meet you, man. Cool,
All right,
Danny.
cool. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I'm excited to do some collaborations with him. He makes it down to VidCon. That's going to be excellent. Have some
Danny.
drinks and
Let me just ask you quickly. You literally ran into him on the shipboat the first time. That's the first you'd ever heard of this guy on the shipboat, right?
I followed him before, but I didn't realize it was him. So I watched one of his videos and hit subscribe, and then I saw him and I ran into him, and then he posted that video, and I was like, oh, that's
that dude.
That's that same guy. What? It blew my mind. It was so
cool.
weird. Actually, I'll post. I think I'll post the video of me running into him somewhere in this too, because it's just too funny. So
that's awesome.
Well, guys, thanks for being here, and everyone watching, make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment if you have any questions. And every week we have midweek chats and then weekend interviews, so make sure you come back and join us. So see you next time.
Bye.